I had done a lot of machine stitching because I studied fashion design and I used to make a lot of clothes and interior decor. And I wanted to work with a different fabric. And I found this wool felt when I came to America a few years ago, and I took some home and started making bits and pieces with it. And little by little, it kind of developed, my little business developed from my kitchen into a kind of busy little company, and I started taking to the road, doing retail shows and wholesale shows. And I met Alex a couple of years ago at a show. I'm kind of going very quickly over my background, but my first designs were very simple, just applique pieces like penny rugs, cushions, Christmas decorations, wall hangings, and I only used 3 stitches: running stitch, back stitch, and blanket stitch, all hand done. And I really wanted to try to do some hand stitching. The first threads I used when I started out were pearl cotton threads, because that's all I could find in France at the time that kind of suited the wool felt. And it went very well because I made it very simple. Children could stitch with pearl cotton as well because it's so simple. And after about 2 years, I met Alex at a show in France, a quilt show, and he came by my booth and he looked at my designs and he asked me all sorts of questions about what thread are you using, what quality is it, where do you buy it, can you wash it? And I was thinking, is he going to buy a kit for me? That's all I was thinking. And he said to me, why are you not using my threads? So he gave me some samples, and he came back to my booth and he said, okay, try these, and buy mine. So I started trying to work with them, and I think I really wanted a different thread. I wanted to start being a little bit more adventurous with my designs. I needed something that would give me more texture, more colour, something a little bit more sophisticated. I wanted to give a more sophisticated look to my designs, even though they still remain kind of country style. But I wanted something just a little bit more grown up, something that I look for a little bit more experience. So, it's a thread I tried when I first got the samples. The big difference for me from pearl cotton is that it was much finer. Of course, it's much thinner thread. And my immediate idea was to double, so I started stitching out pieces of double thread because I needed to kind of have that thickness that I was used to. And I tried a lot of traditional embroidery stitches, like the feather stitch, the blanket stitch, the chain stitch, the lazy daisy stitch, all those lovely old-fashioned stitches that my grandmother had taught me how to do a long time before. And then I started trying to introduce them into my designs. So I became a little bit more adventurous with my piecing. Beforehand, my original design would have been just wool felt pieces cut out, applique, one on top of the other, with very simple stitches. And that's when I started trying my hand at, piecing the background, and then using my applique as usual, and working with the threads to give texture, to give life, to give them kind of personality. I brought a lot of things to show you because it's a thread that you can do a lot with. It's a very versatile thread. I love it for hand, for working with hand, and I always have some small thing in my bag that I really want to stitch with. But of course, it's right on the machine as well. I've used it on kind of crop up regularly. There's a couple of absolute must-haves, and I think the most important colour of the whole range is this colour. It's 8920. It's called Funky Mustard, which I think is the most unfortunate name that you could ever give a full thread. But this to me is a beautiful aged bronze colour. It's kind of a vintage colour. It's a colour that goes every colour away that you can possibly think of. Anyway, this is my absolute first choice, and I'll show it to you in designs. Another thing about how I use the thread, I like to. I'm not a quilter. I'm not a specialist in patchwork. I never learned how to piece a quilt. So if you look really closely, you can says, look at me, you know, I'm a really nice thread, look at me, look at all the nice things that you, how you can use it. 16 now actually is the easiest if you want to thread it easily. But once you have the right needle, there's absolutely no problems. I use, at the moment, but a 22 regular sewing needle I find is very good as well. And I think it depends on your eyesight, you know. If you need those glasses to get if you can just go for a slightly larger size eye, okay, the handle falls on as well, but it's just perfect, you know. I didn't modify the tension. I use the thread in the bottom, and you just push it through, and it works. And then all the rest is all hands. A little bit, a word of advice about when you're actually cutting your thread. It's a wool and acrylic mix, 50-50. If you pull it, it does break. So for quilting, hand quilting, no, you're not going to do regular traditional hand quilting with thread. I always suggest that you cut, first of all, your thread, that you work with small lengths. Try not, don't, try to be, to go quickly, we tend to cut long threads, but I always think it's worth it to cut a smaller length. But once you're stitching with it, you can use a single thread and pull it through 4 thicknesses of wool felt, and it never breaks. So there's some kind of magic involved. When you pull it, it breaks, but when you're actually stitching with it, it doesn't. One thing you could keep an eye out for is in your sewing machine is in the bottom. For example, this one here. I've used a dark green here, kind of a forest green, and then I'm using this one here. It looks almost like a gold colour, but it's a colour that kind of changes depending on the colour scheme that you're using it in, and it's a great colour. It's another all-rounder. I would say the 8965. I chose black. I thought it was a pity to fill this precious box with black, but it's a really important colour, and particularly if you're doing any kind of folk art or countryside designs, and I use actually a lot of black. And once you started working with Lana, you won't want to mix. Even for black, you'll want to use the Lana black as well. And so I have to put black in. I chose a kind of a hazelnut brown colour, which is fantastic in all designs. I chose 2 absolutely gorgeous oranges. There's a pumpkin. It's kind of a very bright pumpkin, which if you take these, using those 2 colour combinations, this orange is really, really a lovely, very bright one. And this one's slightly deeper. It has a kind of a touch of red to it. It's a slightly richer colour that can be. It's kind of between seasons. It can go from autumn to winter. This one here. I'm not a pink person, but my customers are pink. And they love pastels, and I have 2 best-selling pink colours. This is one of them, 8433, and it's a slightly paler one, and I really sell a lot of this colour. But it actually goes quite well. It's in this design here, and it goes very well with sort of burgundies and those mossy green colours. The darker shade of fabric with the darker base to kind of tone the whole thing down. But you can actually do the same thing when you're using your threads. And this design is a typical example because you've got the brights here, but by toning it down to this